Okay, and we're back. So I'm doing these streams back to back as I mentioned in my last video. So in my last video I talked about a lap timing system. Now I've actually been working on a different lap timing system of my own creation based on the work I've been doing with the LED light kit. So I kind of wanted to give everyone a bit of an update where I've been on that, because there hasn't been, I haven't put a lot of information out there, and there's not a lot of good ways to, well, I don't put this stuff on Facebook or anything like that where most people would pick it up. So I thought it'd be an interesting chance to start talking about where it's at with this. So for the LED light kit, this is the basis of it. This is a dual core 240 megahertz board, powered off USB or the little charging port on the bottom there. Provides a whole lot of different I/O pins to various accessories. Actually, can I zoom in and show you what it's got? Probably not. No, okay. Lots of I/O, can do those tricolor NeoPixel LEDs. So typically when people do LED light kits, they use just single color LEDs. You're probably familiar with what an LED looks like. I've actually been experimenting with, I'm trying to find one while I'm talking, tricolor LEDs. They're programmable, they're a bit easier to interface to. Oh, here we go. They look like this. So these are on a backing PCB. You can see the square thing is the actual LED itself. They're 3 pins. So you just wire 1 pin into this little board, and then you can change red, green, and blue independently, and sometimes even white. They'll have like a different color temperature white color, which is really, really handy. These can also be daisy chained, so I can drive easily 30 of these. So if you've got anywhere where you need like 30 or even 64 LEDs on a mini Z size chassis, these are probably what you want. I've also got the much smaller surface mount versions of these, which are going to be a pain to solder, but for the Dakar truck, it's definitely going to be worth it. And this actually forms a very, very key part of the Dakar truck itself. So you'll see here I've got one of the NB4 receivers with a whole lot of wires off it. And if you look very, very carefully, that's actually plugged into the iBus port. Now these receivers can talk both iBus and SBus, and what I typically do is when I'm playing around, I've actually got it plugged into the back here, like so. And I've actually been reverse engineering the iBus stuff, so I can read all 8 channels that get sent to this receiver. And that's really, really nice, because the channels that aren't exposed here, I can then use for changing things like light color, or in the case of the Dakar truck, how high the chassis is and how much it's tilting back and forward. We're not going to be controlling every single corner independently. We're just going to have ride height and forward and rear bias. And then there is actually a gyroscope. I don't know if it's in this one, but I've got a separate gyroscope unit here, which actually plugs in via the port down the bottom here. And then that will be used to automatically flatten the car. So if you're on a slope, it will compensate for the slope. So a lot of smarts in here, a lot of fun. I've been experimenting. As you can see, I've actually got a lot of single board computers here. So this is part of the Pace Notes project, which will give you corner by corner directions like a rally co-driver. And this is also intended to map out tracks. This is, given the size and weight, this is more for 1/10 scale, but there's no reason why I can't use the same software in this. So these actually have the same processor. The only real difference between these two is this one has a screen. So this will likely be what you put in something like the Dakar truck, because it's a lot lighter. And then you have this in a 1/10 scale car, so that you can actually see the track on the back. And you probably mount that in the rear windscreen, because the idea is with rally racing, you're actually running behind the car the entire time. So this would actually be pointing out the next waypoint that you have to navigate to, and generate the waypoints automatically. Like if you've got a flat open space, it will just generate a whole lot of dot points and you race from one to the other. If you've got a track you want, you just drive around the track the first time, and then this maps the entire track out for you. Currently this has only got an accelerometer, but I've got a GPS unit on the way. I'll be very, very interested to see if I need the GPS unit. I'm trying to do it all with the accelerometer, so there's that. Now, this was originally about lap timing. So, yeah, lots of stuff. Like this is actually for controlling the cameras for this stream, funny enough. I just haven't finished writing the software for that. Where did this go? So the next one that's kind of interesting And while I'm at it, we'll just put this away for the moment. This isn't important, but you'll see why we need it in a minute. Little battery unit. Same board as before. Barcode scanner. So if we combine the two, and I put some software on this last night and was testing it. Power's on, green LED happens. It's got a light, that's turned off. That's a bug, funnily enough, when it turns on the barcode scanner engages. So if I push the button on the top, it lights up and wants to read a barcode. Now, funny enough, we have a 2D barcode here. So if we scan it, you can hear it clicking every time it does a successful scan. So I've got another two of these on the way. The other thing I've got is a small little e-ink display. And this is going to form the basis of my lap timing system. Now, one of the things I didn't mention about these little units, and in fact every single board I showed you earlier, was they all have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in them. So what will happen with the barcodes, well actually let's talk about the e-ink display first. So M5 Stack just announced an e-ink display unit, which is basically one of these with an e-ink display. What I intend to do with that is have that show lap times. Now with Rally, the start and end points may not be in the same location, and so the traditional way to record a lap doesn't really apply. You need two timing gates, and most things don't support two timing gates. What I realized with the barcode scanner is I can just put a barcode on every single car, and as they go past the start or finish line, just scan it. And with the Wi-Fi, talk to the e-ink display and then just transmit that it's past point X. And then on the little e-ink display, it can then go off and calculate lap times, which is actually pretty awesome. I thought it was rather nice to enroll these with the e-ink display, so have them connect. The e-ink display itself will have two QR barcodes on it, and you just scan the barcode with this thing and it automatically syncs up and joins. And so the entire interface for this is just going to be turn it on and push a button. And in fact, I can put this into continuous mode so it's constantly scanning, so you don't even need the button. It would literally be press that button there to turn it on and then just start scanning things. And every time it scans something, it generates a timing event, and that timing event goes back to the central server, and then the central server can do whatever it wants. So the e-ink display is also kind of nice because you can connect to it with your laptop or your phone and then get access to the same information that it's got. And so these are all small parts that communicate and build a much more comprehensive timing system. Now, there are some issues with the barcode scanner, and I'll show you here. So if I go quickly enough, it actually doesn't work. But if I hold it still, it works almost immediately. So I need to experiment with continuous mode to see if it can pick that up and work with that. And it can also work off changes in brightness. So perhaps if I put a black line there and scan it that way, it will, by the time it's woken up, it's on the barcode, it snaps it, and it works. But I would be playing with that a bit more. It would be very, very nice to have an entire timing system where you didn't need infrared transmitters. You just slapped a small sticker on that and it worked. I can do the same thing with webcams, and in fact all this is a CMOS webcam. And the reason you want CMOS is because you can go for stupidly high frame rates, and they're normally just black and white, which is all you need for this sort of stuff. And that should drastically get the cost down. There's still a bit of cost in the barcode and the e-ink display. Honestly, the e-ink display is not required. I can replace the e-ink display with one of these, which is $7. And then you can just connect to it via a laptop or your phone and manage it that way. I kind of got the e-ink display because I'd like to just slap it against something and just have it on the wall somewhere. So I've got a lot of options, and I kind of feel that when this is done as a product, it will be an ecosystem of products that just seamlessly work together. You just take the pieces you want, either a central controller, a display unit, whatnot, join them all up with barcodes, and in fact, because these are removable like that, you can just have the one barcode scanner for setting everything up, and then once you disconnect it, it remembers the settings. So it's not like you're going to need a barcode scanner for everything either, which gets the cost down even further. So that's where it's at the moment. Nice little unit, not a lot of information documentation. I'm actually having to do a lot of reverse engineering on this, which has been very, very interesting. But I'm kind of actually hoping to have a prototype of this working in the next week or two, and the entire system working as a whole probably early January, which will be great. So that's that. If there's anything you can think of that you think would be awesome, or that you've always wanted in a lap timing system, I'm always open to suggestions. So you can leave a comment below. There's other ways to contact me, RMiniZ. I use Blitzworks pretty much everywhere. So yeah, just send me a message, and I would be interested in any feedback you can provide me. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you all in the future. Keep on building.